And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon. Today I'm talking with Neil Twa. Neil is a business owner, founder of a company that we're going to talk about of how you can really grow your business. He's the host of the High Voltage Business Builders podcast. He's the author of Almost Automated Income. He's just got a lot going on. Neil, man, thanks for spending some time with me today.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm honored to be here and excited to chat with you a little bit about all this stuff. Business,
Awesome.
e-commerce, and Amazon FBA. What does it mean? What is all that talk?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a great conversation. So as we let's just dive into this whole thing
All right.
of building a business, basically using Amazon, as I understand it. So you're going to educate me as we walk through this. But
Sure.
tell
We'll get
me,
down to
Neil,
it.
how in the world did you get doing what you're doing today?
Yeah. So really building an e-commerce company has to do with sales channels, and there's different kinds of sales channels: Amazon, FBA, Shopify, your website, retail, anything that moves, a physical good to market, direct to consumer retail, right?
Okay.
I got started on this about 12 years ago. I was on a bit of a journey to figure out how to cross my experience with online and digital marketing, which was doing more digital product selling with a physical product back end so I could actually control the outcome. In business, controlling as much as you can is an important part of the business model. If there are things you can't control, you try to gain some control or influence over them in order to mitigate risk, right? And one of the things I couldn't really control was the product end of affiliate marketing, which is what I was doing at that point, specifically for mobile media and ads. So if somebody's, started the offer and then decided they didn't want to run it anymore, and I already had affiliated it, well, I was kind of stuck. So this was a risky model at times to get a lot of things going and then have it stop. So I thought, okay, how do I fix that? And a friend introduced me to Amazon and said, hey, I'm selling physical products on Amazon. You should check it out. And to me, when I first heard that, it sounded like eBay. And I'm like, well, I know about eBay and flipping products from your garage and all that stuff, and I don't want anything to do with that. And he's like, no, you have to, they bought this company. It's a logistics company. They're delivering all the products for you. You should check it out. And I thought, okay, I'll check it out. And sure enough, they had put a lot of money into building up this, what's called last mile infrastructure, getting the trains and the movement of products and everything down to the customer's door. And I thought, wow, this is pretty interesting. Being that it was 12 years ago, it was at the earlier stages of them doing that. They bought the company somewhere around 2009 or so, but it was not really hitting mainstream just yet. And I, took a look at it and said, "Oh my gosh, this is what I was looking for." But I didn't have a product idea yet, so I just started flipping products. In an arbitrage format. I find something, I'd sell it. We feel 100 of these, we'd sell that with 600 of that, and really that just kind of hooked me on it. That made me realize, there's a lot to this and I need to figure the rest of it out. And being a business guy, I wanted to figure out how to systemize it and build processes. And I actually met a gentleman in that process named Reed Larson, who really had the operational technicalities that I did not. He had other components of my brain that I didn't. And we had a mutual friend that put us in contact. And an hour later, we were, kind of best friends. We were talking and said, hey, let's figure this thing out. That was over 12 years ago. So we now own the products and the IP. We own the physical product in the back end. We have the manufacturing created. When we create a brand, the products are ours. And we manage all the way from end to end product and digital assets, all the way to the physical inventory of the product itself. But that was just a part of the story. I mean, I go back farther. We don't have to get back into the Wayback Machine if we don't want to. But I did fire the man in 2007. I left my IBM career to set off and do this. That was over 17 years ago.
Wow.
I started on this process. Left IBM.
That's crazy. All right. So, I mean, that in and of itself was an amazing story there of I love how you found your question, how do I fix this?
Yep.
As entrepreneurs, that really is a
Problem solving.
great question we need to be asking all the time because there's always a solution, right? But it took you finding a partner or a friend who connected you with somebody else.
Yeah.
Who I love how you said that. Yeah, he had the other part of my brain or something, and it's so good.
It really ends up being the other half of my brain, and it was one other moment of realization that for entrepreneurs, you need to understand something. It's who you know that gets you there, and it's what you know that keeps you there.
Yeah.
So in that process, after leaving IBM, after going through a series of ups and downs in my business and figuring and pivoting and turning and maneuvering, I discovered most of the business world really is about relationship driven aspects, no matter what level of business or what kind of business you do.
Yeah, it is 100%. 100%. So let's talk about this. Building a business with Amazon, and you've got this Amazon FBA.
Yeah.
And when I looked at that, I'm like, Facebook ads? What is it? So educate us on what is this thing?
Yeah. In its simplest terms, it's called Fulfilled by Amazon. It just means that they handle the logistics and the last mile of the delivery of the product to your house. If you've ever purchased something from Amazon, you've been a part of that system. It just
Okay.
means that we utilize it on the seller side for our packages to be delivered to you. And
Okay.
with that, I don't have to warehouse things in my house. I don't have to ship things every day myself. They go through Amazon's warehouse to basically get products, customer support, returns, and a lot of things handled by Amazon's infrastructure. We get to leverage their infrastructure. There's pros and cons to that. I'll always be very pragmatic. I'm not an Amazon fanboy. They have major challenges they need to address, but there's a lot of positives to that as well in the use of that system, so that I can operate this on 50 acres in the country on Starlink, and I don't have to be sitting in the middle of a city or have a warehouse in my house shipping products every day. So leveraging their infrastructure is powerful. It creates that almost automated opportunity where we focus then on what do we sell more than how do we deliver it, which is interesting because I used to own a warehouse. I had 12 employees and 21,000 square feet. So, that's not the best way to do this.
Yeah.
It makes sense at certain levels of business. Okay. Much, much larger. But when you're controlling the warehouse and your own product, it's a little different for the right means and the right specific kind of product or audience you're trying to reach. But for most people, if they're getting going and starting on Amazon, FBA, building an e-commerce company, let's make sure we're clear, it's just a sales channel.
Okay.
And that's the first place I take new people, aspiring entrepreneurs, because they need to get people to see their product. They need to be able to have someone buy their products. And, you get into the world of Facebook and direct response marketing and Google ads and search engine traffic, and all of a sudden the technicalities go off the chart, and most people can't adapt or have enough time to understand how all of that works and do it successfully, getting people attracted, what we call eyeballs on the offer, to actually buy their product. Well, Amazon's kind of baked that in the cake. It's a great place to start and incubate a brand because there are 150 plus million shoppers. You are probably one of them, buying over $1,400 a year on average as a Prime member. So I take people into the largest marketplace in the United States and help them understand how to get people interested in their product.
Wow. So, okay, so let's talk about that. So does somebody who's working with you, do they already need to have a product or an idea for a product, and they're on that beginning stage, or it could be, I assume, an entrepreneur who already has a product that would be an e-commerce product, but could you take somebody who says, I've got an idea, but I don't know the manufacturing and all that stuff, but I need this?
I work with aspiring entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs in motion of growth and scale, or wanting to get more growth and scale. So there's two pivoting points, right? And a lot of times they need the same problems solved, just at different levels or different times in the business. So what the heck do I sell is kind of one of the first things, you have to discover. And who do you sell it to? Well, Amazon is a giant marketplace of buyers. So that's who you're selling it to. And inside of there are areas that are like a river of traffic. It's Amazon's kind of a river, literally, of traffic, but it's also a tree. It's got all these little places that spin out of inside of it where all this data is held. But you have to understand, in our mind, we see this in a physical sense usually because we relate it to the products that show up at our house. But you have to think about it more like in today's world. It's a giant AI engine of information and product movement digitally before the physical product ever comes to your door, which is just the transactional expectation of the relationship you have. So as a buyer, what we're into doing is innovation over invention, because we want to innovate against existing products in the marketplace. So we don't need a brand new product, okay? And we want to innovate our way into a product opportunity that creates a differentiating or unique selling position for our product in the marketplace. Okay. Slight differentiator. So it's about marketing to an AI engine. We sell listings and data to an AI engine. That's what we're good at. It's good at delivering products to the customer. So we have to create a great product, which is the second most important thing in the process, not the first. People get these things inverted. What we need to do first is create the best data, best narrative, best marketing, and present it to an AI engine, okay, who is now using AI system to determine the narrative of the product and how it's ranked in the engine and how people perceive its value. So it pushes it out to more buyers correctly. And we have to prime that engine to make sure that it does that correctly, and then sell it to products that are available and in most demand, and then get our product into that slipstream of high demand. At that point, the product can sell extremely fast. So everybody thinks you need to be an inventor. We still got this kind of, if they build it, they will come kind of thing. If you build it, they will come. The Elon Musk idea, maybe the Shark Tank thing. We're kind of ingrained to think that only the 1% can win.
Right.
Okay. When in reality, 99% of people who make money in physical products or business at all are simply innovating against existing marketplaces. And very occasionally, something will pop up that is holistically unique, an idea that has not been thought of, and the market can receive it at that point. And maybe they'll receive it from you. But that's the 1%. 99% of the time, It's innovation over invention. And when you realize that, you suddenly unlock millions of product ideas. You go from the crock pot, grandma's crock pot, to an Instapot. Okay, that's not a hard leap. It's not a
Right.
new radical thing. It is just a different way of presenting a crock pot to someone who wants to make a hot meal and not burn their house down. Because that's kind of
Yeah.
yeah. And now
Okay.
they
No,
sell $1 billion worth of Instapot.
absolutely. No, I love it. Another idea that hit me when you were there, because my 16-year-old daughter had to have one of these, right? An air fryer.
You'll see the air fryer is just another innovation of the Instapot. It's
It
just another,
is.
see, they just went into these. These are not holistically new. They're just like micro, appliances to the major
Yeah,
appliances you already have.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
those
think
are
it was,
innovations. We focus on that. And then what the heck do you sell pops up. So the real question is how to make it profitable. So the real
yeah.
question you're actually underlying here, we want to address primarily because there are a lot of things that get put in reverse or because of hopium dealers and YouTube gurus and whatever, they get these things the wrong direction. And then we call them the one-hit wonder boys. So the end result is building process and systems comes off of profit. You can't pay
Mhm.
yourself, pay for the system, pay for other people to help replicate and create force multipliers if you don't have profit. It's not a four-letter word, literally.
No,
So
it's
we
good.
need to be able to take profit, not exorbitant profit, not at the sake of the market or the customers, right? To provide good product to them, but also at a fair profit. And with that, we have to then determine by the numbers, what is that number that we are most applicable to? We don't sell anything less than $12 in net profit per unit. So after all of your costs and goods and marketing and Amazon fees and anything it takes to make that one unit sell in the market, it needs to have a net, what falls out the bottom, a net profit of more than $12, or we won't sell it.
Hmm.
So we have this green light process by which a whole set of data and numbers after 12 years of building these systems and millions of products in our data set and a whole software technology that we developed that has an AI powered analytic component to it. We have a green light process, whether it goes green, red, or yellow. Guess what happens when it goes yellow? And guess what happens when it goes red? Should you sell it or not sell it? What do you think,
Yeah.
Michael?
I think no. I think we need to
No.
stop for a little bit.
Yeah. So our data set basically uses our accounts, our customer accounts, our own data, 12 years of analytic engine and assessment, and Amazon's Opportunity Explorer data, and combines that into a 99% trusted data set we use internally to determine which products go green, have the most opportunity, upside potential, most profit, most amount of available market share we can approach by the number of competitors that we assess. And then we go in and figure out how to take over 1% of that market share.
I love that. I love that. So what you just described, I just finished an audiobook, listening to it for the third time by the guy who started Hobby Lobby.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Marguerite.
and yeah, Mark. And so he started with beads. Actually, everybody thinks it's frames. It's beads and then it's frames, but um, they've iterated. One thing he said that I think tracks with what you're saying. He says, Hobby Lobby, we do not create trends. He's like, we look for and research and
That's
find
right.
trends, and we supply the products for those trends. He's like, that's
That's
how
right.
we built our business. Very
That's
similar,
right.
right?
We're creating Amazon is a customer demand channel now. It used to be a customer creation channel of demand, and now it's reversed because it's become so large. People now understand it as an opportunity for every product they buy, even if they go to or see a television ad and it doesn't say go to Amazon, they're going to Amazon, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's a demand capture platform, and it was that way. That's when I first discovered my first product. I actually discovered I was up feeding my third child. I have four daughters. And
Okay.
mom was tired. I'm a late night owl, so I always got up and took the late night shift, right? And then she took the early morning shift, and I'd sleep in. It was just a great balance of
That's great.
camaraderie. And so I'm up with the third child. She's needing to be fed, and we're giving a bottle. And I sit down and I'm flipping through like 4 a.m. Infomercials while she finishes her bottle. And up pops this product on there, and I'm like into the product because it wasn't a dumb thing. It was about kids, at that point. And I've got kids, and I'm sucked into this commercial, and it's for this seat pet, they called it, and it had a big head on it, and you would attach it to the car seat and put your crowns and stuff in it, and they could snuggle it or whatever, and their head wouldn't fall over, and it was this cool little toy. I'm like, man, I gotta get one of those. So I go to Amazon, and and suddenly it dawns on me. I'm still changing my mindset at this point and trying to understand how to reshift my focus from a consumer to a buyer, a seller, a marketing. And I saw it, and I was like, man, I want to get one of these. And I went to Amazon, and I had a hard time finding it. And it dawned on me, I was like, they don't have the capture of the demand for this product, but they're spending all this money on the television. What if we could get in front of that? So we went and developed a product line. It took us about 2 weeks to get the initial prototypes. We called it Belt Buddies. All right, the competitor to the seat pets. And we launched our own product line of test, about 2,000 units of test we put into the market, kind of a Hail Mary pass. In fact, I had to put it on a credit card because I didn't have the capital to get it going at that point. And turns out we sold through all of those in 8 weeks. So we've discovered very quickly what we called our As Seen on TV strategy, which later led me to a relationship with Kevin Harrington, the Mr. As Seen on TV, which helped develop a whole process of creating and capturing demand for a river of traffic that is already flowing from all these other locations and channels, and that we can capture that correctly on Amazon. We'll basically siphon away all of their other traffic and marketing efforts and capture them on Amazon first. So we actually look not for trends that we want to necessarily hop on, short-term trends, but long-term trends of opportunity where you see mass marketing happening, but we can outposition them on Amazon, and we can incubate that product, go in and basically eat their lunch, and then we can reverse that the other direction and go back out to the market once we have proven it on Amazon. So that became our As Seen on TV strategy.
I love it. I love it. There's so much, and I think the thing I really have appreciated so far is the this is not hype. This is not, hey, this is, dare I say, research based through School of Hard Knocks, understanding, analytical. Here's what works. A, B, we're doing it ourselves.
Yep.
C, we've taught many people, and D, we can teach you.
Yeah, we just to clarify the rest of that, right? So we don't marry our products. Like if that product hadn't gone well, I wouldn't have married it. So one of the things we talk about as you're going through what kind of products and demand and making sure you have certain numbers, like we won't sell products that are less than $50. So $50 to $500 in retail price point for those of you keeping notes at home, right? On Amazon, they need to have an initial target market of 50,000 to 100,000 in what's called the bestseller rank on Amazon, which means they have demand, but it's not hyper demand per se. And there is competition, but there's low saturation, right? And with hyper competition or nearly, it's a challenge to get started. It takes a lot longer. So we want to be right in that mid area where we can step into the market, validate the market, and know that there's a larger market just ahead of us that we can approach, right? That makes sure we get sales, we get going, we get momentum, and then in time, with additional money and inventory, we can overtake the market. A lot of people want to dig right into the top of the bestsellers and they'll fail. They don't have enough money and capital to really get them going, and they'll fail before they can make it successful. That is volume of vanity, okay, over sanity, which is profit. And of course, we want to get into cash flow, which is king in business, right? And this could be the king of that. So we want to stay practical, which means we don't marry our products. You do not marry your product. We marry the business idea, we marry the brand idea, but we do not marry the product idea. So no product is married in our system. Every system of the green light process has to have a product. We call it the 5x5 methodology. All right. 5 products get tested in the system, which means 1 to 2 of them, okay, on average, will become winners by volume of sales over the other products. Okay. They'll start to organically and through marketing take off. That's where we follow our string. We pull on that string. As we pull on that string, we offer more inventory, more marketing. And what happens is a whole plethora, I will borrow a word, of products will open up into your brand that you can put a pipeline of launching into and start widening that brand out. And they should all obviously have that profitability. Amazon loves that too, because of that stream of traffic and what you're doing. They're actually looking for you to do more product and data inside of your brand because they want to propagate you to more system, more of the system. And they won't do it forcibly unless they see you meet certain metrics, certain sales, a certain amount of SKUs, certain kinds of profitability. You simply can't overtake the market. So there's a process by which we do that.
Yeah. Which is good because this is helping people build a business.
Yeah. First sales channel.
Yeah, exactly. And when you come into and you've heard as much as I do, people say, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get rich and I'm going to go to Hawaii or whatever. It's like,
that's great. And that's a good goal.
Good for you.
Have that goal. Have the goal of generational time freedom and wealth and stuff. Keep it in a 3 to 5 year realistic time frame.
Thank you.
If we build correctly in years 1 through growth, okay, which is our year of growth, it's our year of learning and earning, it's our year of understanding and change. It's not going to be your 7-figure business in the first year unless you've already had one previously and know what that means. If you're brand new, it is an unrealistic expectation. You will simply fail over things you don't know at a much larger level, which comes with a higher level of risk. So year 1 needs to be your growth year, okay, in terms of learning and knowledge, et cetera. The business growth year should come in year 2, okay, which means you're now maturing your understanding, you're maturing your systems, you're maturing your capital deployment every 90 days. You are in growth to profitability with the business, meaning you can start taking profit out every quarter, maybe every month, where you're now feeding yourself back money while growing the business, okay, and not slowing it down. So that scale might happen in years 3 through 5 as you scale your knowledge and as you scale your business and as you scale your opportunity. Therefore, you don't become part of the 92% that fail. Okay.
Right.
Understand, only 8% of people last past 4 to 5 years in business. That's the largest metrics. Why? They don't have a strong fundamental foundation of business and knowledge to go along with the tactical skills of an Amazon business or any kind of business channel that they're selling on. So when people say, oh, there's Amazon businesses, no, actually, you have an e-commerce business whose first sales channel is Amazon. Focus on the one channel until you get it right, but then move to additional channels, which require more time, energy, attention, and money. Understand that. But it's an important part of growing that holistically. For example, as buyers, my last part of this, we're buying companies. We will not buy a company that does not have multiple channels. Okay? It has to have multiple redundancy. It can't be a single channel only. It can't be a single product only. And it must have multiple sales channels, either retail, additional online, infrastructure. It must have components of operations and efficiencies of operations. It must, if it's a single operator, what have they built into redundancy? And these companies will typically be $3, $4 to $15 million in revenue. So we need to make sure that we do our due diligence on them. We're set to acquire those through a company with a private equity group that we've strategically partnered with for this endeavor called Patriot Growth Capital, which is a veteran-backed, veteran-funded, veteran-operated endeavor for the focus on 22, stopping the 22 veterans a day if we can through our assistance. By building this up and acquiring these companies and then letting the families of operators apply to come in and work with us to be trained to become operators, possibly CEOs, and have the opportunity after 5 years of acquiring one of those companies back from us, which creates generational wealth and upside for them. And they helped about 16,000 veterans last year. We're set to close on our first business here at the end of February after 2 years of process and about 130 companies that we kissed. We've got 4 now that have made it through the due diligence and are going into what's called a letter of intent, intent to buy through the agreements. And we have 2 more behind, actually I have 4 more behind that. 2 more are very close to closing by March to June. And we will have probably around 5 companies that we'll acquire in 2025 on that mission based support.
That's awesome. Well done. Love that vision and love how you've systematized the opportunity to start and scale an e-commerce business. And I love what you said there. And I hope people got it. Is year 1 is learning. You're growing. You're building. You may or may not take any money out of that business, right? It's you're in there and you're figuring things out with that long-term vision, 3 to 5 years to go. Now I'm going to have a profitable business that I can scale and grow.
Yeah, even sell, right? So we have what's called a first right of refusal for my clients. If they come with an existing business and we help turn them around, make them more profitable, put them on the right path, or we're building through the process of our business builders component for 12 months and beyond, then the goal there is to acquire that business away from them. We have the first right of refusal to look at it. It's not a requirement to sell. It's a gentleman's agreement that when you decide to sell, you come to us first. And I have 2 companies now from our client base that we're looking at and evaluating that are ready for sale. One's around 6 million in sales. So we build them, they come, they change and create opportunity. We create growth and scale, and we have an exit in mind. It's called the platinum principle. You ever heard of the golden parachute of a corporate job that you can bail out of? Well, ours is called the platinum principle, which basically is you pull the eject button whenever you want to exit, and whatever you're willing to exit for is your dollar, your opportunity. And you might want to open additional sales channels, and we can help you do that. And then we'll set you up for an exit, and I'm the first place you go when you're ready to do that.
How very cool. I think you and I could probably talk for a very long time here. This is fascinating. How if somebody's out there and we've scratched that itch and they're like, okay, this is something I've tried, I want to try, whatever, or I've got something. How did they get a hold of you? What's their next step to kind of do their due diligence to say, is this even something I need to talk to you about?
Yeah, I know everybody on the internet, right? I could be the Queen of Elizabeth. This may be AI, right? We never know who is on the online world. So always do your due diligence, please. You can Google my last name, TWA. You'll find me in the airlines, right? You can go and search for Voltage. You'll find me as well. If you go to Amazon, you can get the Almost Automated Income. I believe we have free version here. We're handing out 10 copies of that for those who go into the show notes right now and grab the website for the free copy. There's 10 codes. You guys can pick up a copy. If you're a reader, check that out. It's a strategy guide. It's not a tactical guide. It's not going to tell you how to open your seller account and that kind of stuff. There are plenty of other, process-based learning things that you can check out. This is more of the strategy. It's very important we understand the difference between strategy and tactical. The strategy is what's making you the money, and 19-year-old high school dropouts can do the tactical. So it's really important you understand how the business runs, how you make money, how you're going to adapt and do the market. And that's 15 chapters of information with people like you that I interviewed on my podcast in the specific areas that focus around our processes, around the Greenlight process, talking about finances and business and money and wealth without Wall Street and the creation of products and research and marketing. And it goes chapter by chapter with case studies and plenty of resources in there if you check that out.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to grab some, I'm going to get that into the show notes so that as busy entrepreneurs, they're busy. They're walking their dogs. They're on some appointments listening to this. Go to the show notes. You'll have the links to connect with Neil and his team, because what he just put together for you is really a business plan that's been proven. If this is something that's of interest to you, go to the show notes, check him out, do your due diligence, reach out and see how he can help you build an e-commerce business.
Yeah. And make sure when we show up, you're ready to build, because this is an application process. So I take 5 people in per intake. They are qualified by me. We do what's called a DISC assessment to determine aptitude in business for specific area focus around my best builder profiles. Don't be offended if you don't qualify. This is not a course. This is not a million people a month kind of crap. My operators are trained into the process intentionally in 12 months, because many of the operators that have trained with me become business partners with us in deals or buying and acquiring companies, or when we acquire companies, they become operators to support our process by sharing the opportunity with us. So when I raise them up, they become part of our business. So I have long-term goals with the individuals that get involved. There's not 100 people a month or 1,000 a month. There's no add to cart. There's no internet marketing crap. I don't subscribe to any of that. But we're going to have a real conversation about the time, energy, attention, and money it takes to do it as a team. Or at least you'll learn how to do it as an individual operator if you leave better than the left. That's my goal anyways.
That's awesome. All right, Neil, man, thanks for the time today, for being my guest, for building what you've built, for the vision of helping the military, and for helping entrepreneurs really build something that can sustain and can grow and can scale. Appreciate that, man.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me on. You've been a wonderful host. I appreciate it.
You are welcome. It's been a great conversation, Neil. Thanks for listening to Experts Speak. Tune in again next week for another great episode. Take care. God bless.